Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome back, dear pupils. So this year as well, we are going to do a series of flash lessons that would help you. Of course, most of the work should be done in class with your teachers and at home alone or in groups. Alright? So, we have already done some lessons dealing with written expression, but we try today to emphasize on this skill, going through complex sentences that would help you and better writing your sentences. Complex sentence. What's a complex sentence? Of course, complex sentences are sentences that are gathering two or more simple sentences. A simple sentence is a sentence that contains only one verb. And for example, let's say, yesterday I was absent. Yesterday I was absent. Okay, this is a simple sentence. It has got one subject, one verb. Alright? If I have another sentence that would be related to the first one, for example, I was sick, or I was ill. If I ask you to combine these two sentences to make only one, it is going to be a complex sentence, and these two simple sentences are going to, one subject, one verb, are going to be called clauses. A main clause and another clause that introduces a specific meaning, whether it is the cause, the result, the condition, the concession, the contrast, time, place, etc. Here, for example, if I tell you combine the two sentences, you are going to need a connecting word. But which connecting word am I going to choose to make my sentence correct? You will try to see what is the relation between the two. Yesterday I was absent, I was sick, so I think the cause is the relation between the two. Cause. What are the different connecting words that introduce a cause clause? So it means that this simple sentence is going to be a cause clause introduced through a connecting word dealing with the cause. The cause. What are the different connecting words or conjunction words or link words that introduce the cause? Generally we use, now most of you know the connecting word because, or the connecting word also as, for, since. All these connecting words introduce a cause clause. So my sentence would be, if I choose, for example, because yesterday I was absent because I was sick. Alright? And this clause is going to be called cause clause. Cause clause. Of course, each time the relation is different between the two simple sentences to combine and to get a complex sentence is going to change. Each time the relation changes, the connecting words also change. For example, if the relation is cause like here, we use the connecting words dealing with cause. If it is the result, also the connecting words are going to change. For example, I am going to use therefore, so, as a result, consequently, etc. If it is time, when, whereas, as soon as, etc. If it is place, if it is condition, for example, use if, provided that, as long as, etc. Concession clause is one of the examples we are going to deal with in this class. So, this is just an example to tell you what a complex sentence is. Alright? So what is the concession clause? We use it most of the time, but we don't know that this type of sentences or this type of complex sentences are called is called the concession clause. What is concession? What is concession? So we start with defining concession. So it is a sentence that expresses an idea that suggests the opposite. The opposite of the main part of the sentence. Of the main part of the sentence, which is generally called the main clause. Of course, all complex sentences contain a main clause and then sub-clauses, what we call also subordinate clauses. These subordinate clauses could be a cause clause, concession clause, condition clause, time clause, place clause, etc. So, here, with the concession clause, we have two simple sentences that express the opposite. The main clause expresses an idea. The concession clause expresses the opposite of what came in the first clause or the main clause. بالعربية نقول تضاد الأفكار. غالبا نستعملوا الكلمة تاع بالرغم من. In English, we have also specific conjunctions or link words used to express concession. So, it generally begins with these conjunctions or link words: though, although, even though. Later on in this lesson, we are going to see that we can use many other words, but we try to emphasize on though, although, even though, because they are the simplest. We use them to combine two simple sentences containing a subject and a verb. It means that after though, although, or even though, we have always a subject and a verb. The other connecting words have a specific syntax. نحو خاص بهم. We try to see later on. For example, of course, we are going to show this through examples. Although he is quiet, he isn't shy. Although he is quiet, he isn't shy. We have the idea of being quiet and the idea of being shy, which is negative. He isn't shy, although he is quiet. We generally start concession clauses with although, but it could be at the middle of the sentence if we invert the two sentences. If we start here, for example, he isn't shy, although he is quiet. Il est calme, malgré qu'il est calme, il n'est pas si honteux. Right? Ou timide. Il n'est pas si timide, malgré qu'il est très calme. رغم أنه وش يقولوا بالعربية؟ رغم أنه quiet هادئ جدا، إلا أنه ليس بالإنسان الخجول. Right? So, how to combine all the sentences? Second example. Combine the following sentences. I'm going to give you two simple sentences and try to combine them using one of these connecting words to introduce concession. For example, he had enough money. He refused to buy a new car. Look at the concession here. Someone who has a lot of money and refuses to buy a new car. Generally, when we have a lot of money, we try to buy new things. New house, a new car, new clothes, etc. He had enough money. He refused to buy a new car. Try to combine the two and you are going to get even though, for example, even though he had enough money, comma, of course, he refused to buy a new car. Is that right? We can combine them as follows. Even though, although, here also, although, or we can use also though. So although he had enough money, even though he had enough money, though he had enough money, and you can consider that after though, after even though, and after although we have a subject and a verb. We can also invert the two. We can start from here. He refused to buy a new car, though, even though, although he had enough money. Just pay attention to the fact that if we invert the two sentences and get or have the connecting word in the middle of the sentence, we don't use the comma. We use the comma only when we start with the connecting word or when we start with the concession clause, or even when we start with the subclause, subordinate clause, with all the other types of complex sentences. We try to see now the different uses of, okay, we can get just a short root or here, for example, though, although, or even though, plus subject plus verb, means that we always have after a subject and a verb. After though, although, even though, we get, or we always use subject and verb. We try to see what happens if we have other connecting words. So we use also, despite, in spite, despite and in spite. In your syllabus, Unit 2, Unit 1 for scientific stream and Unit 2 for literary streams, you have this structure in class, but you have seen how to use despite the fact that and in spite the fact that. And you can consider that after despite or in spite we have the fact that. The fact that is a noun phrase, it is not subject and verb. So we can consider that the syntax is different. We have the same example. For example, if we tell you, for example, to combine these two simple sentences to obtain a complex sentence introducing or using expressing concession, but try to use, instead of using though, although, even though, use despite and in spite of. You can get such exercises in your baccalaureate, exercises of paraphrasing or writing the same sentence a different way. We can give you the sentence with though, even though, and although, and tell you to rewrite it using despite and in spite of, despite and in spite of, and they are going to see whether you change the syntax of the sentence or not. If you change it, you are correct. If you don't, it is not correct. After though, although, even though, always subject and verb. After despite, what should we do? The same example. Despite. Oh, can we say, for example, here, despite he had, now despite he had enough money? No. We cannot have despite he had. So what should we do? After despite, generally, we get a noun or a gerund. Gerund, verb plus ing. So, despite, or in spite as well, in spite, despite or in spite, all his money. So I changed sentence from subject verb to a noun phrase. Despite all his money, he refused to buy a new car. So look here, we don't have, after despite and in spite, we don't have subject and verb. Nevertheless, we consider this as a clause. We can also have the same sentence the other way round. We can start from here. He refused to buy a new car despite all his money, or he refused to buy a new car in spite of all his money. Okay? Now here we have a mistake. I'm sorry for that. I forgot to write of, in spite of. Despite and in spite of. Oh, we try to have a short table so to make the different uses of linking words to get the concession clause. So one time with though, although, even though, and the other time with despite and in spite of. So here, I try to write it here. So, despite and in spite of, we don't get or don't use subject and verb, but we use noun or verb plus ing. Okay? For example, how can we get verb plus ing here? Despite all his money, in spite of all his money, here it is a noun. But how can we get verb plus ing? Do you have an idea? Can you help me? No. So, take the verb to have, and we use it, verb plus ing. So, despite having or in spite of having enough money, and here we are, it's done. Having verb plus ing or noun, all his money. So try to get examples of all the other combining words, linking words that have similarity with despite and in spite of, or similarity with though, although. Even we have to introduce other expressing other clauses, such as the cause clause. Structural similarities. Oh, what is similar? Structural similarities يعني التشابه. نحاول نشوفوا كيفاش كاين بعض الجمل الأخرى اللي تتشابه في التركيبة تاعها. Okay, here. Plus noun or plus verb plus ing, which is called gerund. This is the present participle, but we don't call participle unless it is used with an auxiliary. So here it could be verb plus ing, could be a noun, could be a verb, could be a noun, could be an adjective or a gerund. So here, for concession, in spite of, or despite. So what is similar to this? We can have cause clause using because of. Of course, you have this also in your syllables, unit 2, dealing with business, ethics in business. Ethics in business. Despite the fact that the government did a lot of efforts to combat or to fight corruption, it's still existing. So it is the opposite. Because of, introducing of course the cause, due to, owing to, thanks to. So what is similar is that we said that despite and in spite of accept only a noun or a gerund after, the same as because of, due to, owing to and thanks to. After because of, due to, owing to, we don't directly use subject and verb, but we use a noun, owing to his intelligence, due to his experience, because of his illness, thanks to I don't know, thanks to the big efforts done by the government to fight corruption, for example. The other group of connecting words accept subject plus verb after. You say plus verb. Subject and verb. This is structure. Plus verb. Plus noun or plus verb. Here we have although, though, and even though, for example. For the other types of complex sentences or for the other types of clauses, for example, the cause clause, we use because plus subject plus verb, as subject plus verb, for subject plus verb. For here is a connecting word, not a preposition. Since as well, here also since is used as a connecting word, not as a preposition. Is this alright? So, although, though, even though, plus subject plus verb, as well as many other connecting words that accept the same structure, because plus subject plus verb, as plus subject plus verb, since plus subject plus verb. I will try to do a short exercise just to consolidate what we have learned today, how to build up a complex sentence expressing concession using different connecting words that introduce a concessive clause, a concession clause or a concessive clause. I'm going to give you the sentences and you are going to try to use the correct or the right connecting word that accepts a verb after and that accepts a noun after. So, choose or provide the correct connector. Of course, the connectors are here. You have in spite of and despite, although, though, and even though. Number 1. Number 2, so here, she is beautiful, everybody hates her. Generally, when someone is beautiful, many people like to have beautiful friends. I don't know why, but that's the case. But this one is beautiful, but everyone hates her. Maybe she has a very bad character. She is always in a bad mood. This is one of the experiences that we have dealt with, I think. Sometimes when children are very tired, they sleep deeply. They sleep deeply. The noise. Oh, there is noise. Children sleep deeply. Number 3. Sometimes people are very helpful, especially children towards their parents, earning a low salary, means that her wage is not very good. She helped her parents. What can we use here? What is the connecting word we can use here? Number 4. And number 5, the last one, I think it is clear. Kate didn't do well in her exam. Worked very hard. Means that she prepared very well her exam. She worked hard. She didn't get good marks. Alright, so here we have examples, very easy exercise. We don't need to be very clever to do it. It is just which type of connecting words. The first type, which is in spite of, despite, that accepts only nouns after, or although, though, even though, which accepts a subject and verb after. So, for the first sentence, for example, we have she is. Here we have subject and verb. So the appropriate connecting word that comes here could be only, although, though, or even though. So we choose one of them. For example, although. Although she is. So here, for example, we can use only although, though, or even though. We cannot use in spite or despite. You can say despite she is, or in spite of she is. Here, the children slept deeply, and here we have the noise. The noise is just a noun. A noun phrase, of course, but it is considered as a noun. So here we cannot use though, even though, or although, but we can use, for example, in spite of the noise. The children slept well in spite of the noise. In spite of the noise, the children slept well. Early. Look here. Verb plus ing. So here also, despite or in spite of. Despite earning a low salary, Sarah helped her parents, or Sarah helped her parents despite earning a low salary. You can consider that there is no verb here, it is a noun phrase. Kate didn't do well in her exam. She got bad marks. However, she worked very hard. She worked very hard. Sorry, we have a missed here. She worked very hard. So here we have subject and the verb, so we use the. For example, Kate didn't do well in her exam, though she worked very hard. And we can, of course, use word, though she worked very hard, Kate didn't do well in her exam. Here also, all our hard work is a noun phrase. So we don't have subject and verb. We use in spite or despite. So in spite of all her hard work, a lot of things went wrong. Of course, we can do perfect things 100%, as I am doing. I try to help you writing correct sentences so as to do well in your future exams. Thank you very much. See you next video.